the companies winning with AI aren't the ones with the biggest budgets. They're the ones who are starting right now. If you've been waiting for someone to cut through the noise and show you exactly how AI could transform your work, your wait is over. Your competitors have already signed up. I'm Kenny, founder of Brim and the host of the AI Opportunity.
Welcome to the AI Opportunity QA sessions, where every week we take one question from a listener and unpack it in under 5 minutes. So if you have any questions that you're excited to ask, please do send them through to ask@theAIopportunity.ai and we may feature them each week. So this week we have a listener called James, based out of New York, who has written to us with a really, I think, important question, which is AI safe to use with my company's data? Now, it seems that James is an operations director of a financial advisory firm, so I think has every reason to be concerned given the both audit and compliance and sort of legislative requirements of companies in regulated sectors. And so James suggests here that his teams are excited about AI. He's interested personally in using it, but he says that his IT department keeps saying it's too risky. And he really wants to understand, so he's got a better framing of to have these conversations. What exactly is safe when it comes to using company data and AI? And I think it's a great point, and many companies are going to be really asking this question right now, and certainly there are going to be many executives having battles with their IT departments when it comes to AI. And so here's our take. AI isn't dangerous by default, but obviously there are risks. And the way that we break it down is you should really think about understanding the context of whatever AI you're going to be working with. So of course, if you are going to use public tools, so a good example of a public tool would be something like a ChatGPT or a Gemini or sort of an open source product or publicly available product, then you need to be aware that your data is likely to be stored, whether that's temporarily because they try to monitor it for quality and abuse, and likely used in the next training runs because most LLMs will at least every quarter, sometimes every half year or yearly, will be going through regular iterative retraining. And if you're using something public, then you're effectively providing your data for that public training. Now, of course, you can always look to commercial models. So all of the big AI products will have a commercial contract that you can sign where they'll, of course, try and carve out that they won't use your data for public training. Now, general AI, we would argue, is not safe to use if you are a regulated industry. You really have to be thinking about how you control that data. The way to think about it as a rule of thumb is AI is incredible, but an analog is what would you give in terms of access to a freelancer, an external party who maybe works for your company but isn't a core team member and you've only just met them online? Would you give them access to all your financial information? Would you give them access to all your key client information? Would you give them access to all of your different tools? Of course you wouldn't, right? You would be cautious, you would be thoughtful, you would understand that, there is risk even when dealing with humans. And in many respects, it's the same thing with AI. You need to think very carefully about when you're sharing confidential data. You need to think very carefully about where is the data held. And particularly, you should always review whatever vendor you work with. What is their policy around their data? They should share it with you. I mean, any vendor should be very happy if you ask them, could you send me over your policy on how you manage our data? And to give you some real world examples of how we've seen this applied, James, one example is we worked with a financial advisory firm and they really wanted to give their teams better access to key reports and information across the business. And rather than just opening up that data and trying to own AI so they could specialize AI in their specific business, they created what was essentially a connection with SharePoint, but hosted in their environment. So hosted on their private cloud. The result of that was zero compliance risk. They still got the benefit of faster reporting, being able to search across their organization, but importantly, they could get IT buy-in and leadership buy-in. So the model to aim for is always to aim for the benefits of AI, but securely. Treat AI like if you were adding a new team member. You wouldn't hand over the keys to the new team member on day one. So start small, make sure that you have control over that AI. And as trust grows, you're able to obviously open up more access. Now, if you have any questions and you've hopefully found value from today's quick Q&A, please do write in and let us know what you want to know about AI at ask@theaiopportunity.ai. Brilliant. All the best.